Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. I am so excited about this one because I have a very special guest. Rachel is joining me, and she will be talking about flexible social and community strategies for lean teams, which is so helpful because I know that a lot of the people who attend our webinar and are on our newsletter are on smaller teams. So I think this will be super helpful for everyone. And I did get a sneak peek of the presentation a few days ago. And by the end, it was inspiring me to be more organized. So I'm very excited. Yes, I'm very excited for everyone to see everything in this presentation. But as everyone is trickling in, some of you already know what I'm going to ask. Let me know where you're joining from. So I see we have some people in Oklahoma, Baltimore, Boston, Toronto, hot and humid Toronto. Yes, I agree. It is so humid outside. New Orleans. Amazing. I love it. I love to see where everyone is joining from. Oh, Stacy in Hamilton. Same. We're in the same city. Amazing. Love it. Okay, thank you so much for sharing where you're joining from. I love to see where you all are. But we will get right into the housekeeping slides, and then we'll dive into all the content. So if you found this webinar, maybe you found it on LinkedIn, or maybe someone sent it to you, and you're like, what is HeyOrca? I have no idea what that is. We are a social media management tool for teams and agencies. So we are here to assist you with all of your scheduling needs. And we also have unlimited users, which is really exciting. And also, if you don't follow us on social, it's at HeyOrca on pretty much every social platform. Big shout out to Natalie and Jessica, who are here today in the chat. They make amazing social content on our pages, so definitely go check out everything they are doing. Oh, Natalie just put the link to the Instagram in the chat, so check it out. And we'll do a quick round of intros. So my name is Alyssa, and I'm a community strategist here at HeyOrca. So I work on our webinars, newsletter, Facebook group, HeyOrca stands, all that kind of stuff. And I'll pass it over to my special guest, Rachel, to introduce herself.
Hey, everybody. I'm Rachel, just like Alyssa said, and I am from West Lafayette, Indiana. And I'm a content manager at a company called SDI Innovations, where we're a parent company and we oversee 6 different brands, from B2B education-based brands, B2B ag marketing, and B2C e-commerce. So we're a little bit all over the place, and there's never a dull moment.
Love it. And we're so excited to have you. A few weeks ago, I put out a post on LinkedIn and I was like, if you want to be on our webinar, fill out this form and I'll check out all the topics, get more people on. And when I saw Rachel's submission for this topic, I was like, yeah, we need this topic. I feel like everyone's going to love it. So yes, very excited to have Rachel on with us. And Natalie did just put Rachel's LinkedIn in the chat. So if you would like to go connect with her, definitely do so. And of course, we have to do a giveaway because we do giveaways every week. So we have 2 different ways that you can win an Amazon gift card. So the first way is very easy. We have a poll going on right now on our LinkedIn page. And the question is, how big is your social media team? So go vote on that poll. Let us know how big your team is. You can also tell us in the chat. I'm curious to know. But go vote on that poll and you are automatically entered to win the Amazon gift card. So that winner will be announced tomorrow. And then the second way to win is share something you learned in this webinar on LinkedIn, tag us, and we will be picking that winner next week on Tuesday. And a little hack you can do for this one is, I know some people, if there's a slide that is really resonating with them and they want to remember it, they'll screenshot it and then they'll actually use that in their LinkedIn post, which I find really helps. So that's just a little tip for you if you're wanting to make that one easier. But I do see we have some people saying how many people are on their teams. We have some that have 2. We have a lot of people with just one person on their team. Yep, I feel like that is so common, sadly, in our industry. Awesome. So people are on some small teams. So we're very excited to hear all of the things that Rachel is going to share with us. So I am going to get her slides up here and I will pass it over to her.
Yay. Well, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you again for having me, Alyssa. And I really hope that all the stuff that I'm sharing with you guys today is helpful to you. I kind of want to just go through what I'll be touching on today. I'm going to be talking about building and scaling lean teams. And then I'm going to talk about the flexible content workflows that I've found work for our people. And then I also want to touch on community first engagement. And please, please, please ask whatever questions you'd like. Alyssa and I were talking beforehand, and I'll leave space in between each of these sections so that we can kind of talk about this stuff. But like I said, I want to start with building and scaling lean teams. So the way that my current team is structured is I'm the content manager, and then I have 2 full-timers with me, our video production specialist and our copywriter. And we really push out a ton of the content together. I think I did the math, and it's like every month we'll put out about 450 pieces of content for all of our brands, like the total, not each brand, but 450 pieces of content total, which is crazy because we do have such a lean team. We also have interns with us. Shout out to all the interns who told me they're having a watch party right now. We started out, we had 8 interns this summer, 3 of which were social media interns. And then we have one that's a UX UI intern, but she also does video work for us for about 3 hours a week. So we have a mix of full-time and part-time people on our team. Occasionally, our creative department will hire contract support depending on the ebbs and flows of the annual rhythms of our brands, whatever might be needed. But the thing that I would say, and if you're looking to actually build out your team, start with interns. Like, they are incredible. And I know there are a lot of jokes out on social media like, oh, the intern did this or whatever, but I can't brag about our interns enough. I think our whole intern program for our entire company is incredible, but we also get like the best marketing interns, and it's such a gift to be able to work with them. So don't sleep on interns. If you can, try to hire someone to help support you. And then make sure that your roles are clearly defined so that if there are any gaps, they're easy to identify and you guys can figure out a plan to fill those in. So that's just kind of a little bit about our team. And one of the things that has really helped us is just getting crazy organized and developing processes and workflows that help us pump out lots of content that's high quality. So we started with standardized tools and templates so that everybody can kind of pull from those as we do our day-to-day content creation. And it really started with a project brief for me. Like, I kind of saw this need where like we needed to clearly define like what our content is supposed to be about. Like, here is a project brief, and I can copy and paste that into our project management systems. Also, I gave the team my personal website where all of these templates can be accessed from Canva. So everything that I'm talking about today, you guys can go and download for free, and hopefully they bless you and they'll help you guys with your teams and stuff. So the project brief template's kind of where I like to start. Whenever we have a new project come up, I just copy that out of my template library and I'll put it into our project management system. We use Rike, but there are a billion others like ClickUp and Asana and all sorts of different ones. And with that project brief, I lay out all the expectations of our projects. So like, why are we doing this? What are the deliverables? What are the deadlines? All those kind of things. That way there are no questions from our team. If they do have questions, we can run in there and clarify whatever's going on in the brief. But it really does help make our processes go way more smoother, knowing that everyone's kind of on the same page. So that's where I would start with your teams. And even if you're a one-person team, organizing your projects this way and having things written out clearly for yourself. I know that when I've been on teams of one before, that's been a huge help for me, just trying to keep things straight. Like organization really helps us to get more done. And so I'd start with a project brief, but then I'd also create a social media guide so that when you are ready to bring people onto your team, or maybe you do have someone who can intern for you, they are going to have this playbook that outlines everything they need to know about your brand. And I know that we had one of these, or I saw a need for one of these early on when I started here. And so I developed it and basically just like dumped all the information that I had in my brain that I wanted to replicate for my interns. I put it in this guide. So the first part of our social media guide covers like general knowledge of what we want our interns to know as far as social media goes. So like, what's the marketing funnel? Like we talk about tofu, mofu, and bofu. We talk about those kind of things that are just kind of central to social media marketing. And then from there, we have different sections that are our brand guides, essentially. So this is what brand A wants to be represented like on socials. This is where brand B wants to show up the most. So that way, again, there are no questions. Everything's crystal clear. And then they also have access to template libraries from like Canva. We have brand kits on Canva for every one of our brands that have different social media templates that we've already pre-made on there. And I realize that like this might sound overwhelming from like a project management standpoint. It's a lot of work at the beginning to try and organize something like this. All the stuff in Canva, I kind of inherited when I came here, which I felt really lucky. But it's totally worth the time to set that kind of stuff up so that your team will be set up for success in the future. So I highly recommend taking the time to develop your templates, develop your guides, and organize all of that in a way that you can just say, hey, here it is, and you can hand it off and delegate it to the next person.
I just want to say people are loving that you talk about templates. And I just put a link to Rachel's website. So if you want to access anything that she just chatted about, you can check it out there. But I love templates because if you're a team of one, it may be a lot of work at the beginning to set those templates up and make everything, but then as you go forward, it should save you time through your content creation and project management. So we're big fans of templates over here.
Me too. So I made this slide specifically for our one-person teams because I see you and I know how hard that is. My biggest recommendation is just to repurpose stuff like crazy. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to make stuff from scratch all the time. If you have pre-existing blog content, repurpose that into social media posts, repurpose it into short form videos. If you are going to make new content, I would say like you definitely want to pick 3 topics you're passionate about or your brand wants to be known for. And then each month, maybe focus on creating one piece of long form content. That might be a blog, a long form video, or a podcast that you can just cut up and then place on these different platforms. And I mean, I kind of already talked to your faces off about this, but processes and templates are your best friends. And it's worth it to take the time up front. I think the thing about it is too, like once you make it, it's not said and done. Like I basically started with the bones and then I continue to edit it over time. And I'm constantly updating our social media guide. I'm constantly updating all the resources that we have to make things clearer and easier for our team to use. So take the time to do that. This other thing this is a new thing that our team just kind of started instituting. I'm a big fan of AI, not because I think that it is better than humans. I think that it's a really great tool for humans to use to start with. And so I created with my teammate, our senior marketing manager, we created some custom GPTs that would help onboard our interns this summer. We usually have new sets of interns come in with like the university calendar. We live in a university town, so we'll have full-time interns in the summer, part-time in the fall and the spring. And so it's like a revolving door at times. And one of the things that really helped us this year was taking all of our training, which was like 40 hours worth of training. And it used to span across the entirety of their internship. We took all of that information, put it into a custom GPT along with brand guides and all that information. And we developed this onboarding trainer that they can interact with and that they can use to learn about our companies and our brands and the voices and all that stuff. It gives them a place to practice writing copy and it gives them immediate feedback for it. Whether, if if they miss something, it'll say, hey, don't forget to put this, or it'll give them suggestions on how to improve it. And so I feel like I've kind of replicated part of myself in that way. So, because if I tried to do that with all of our interns, I'd get burnout. So, a custom GPT is like, if you're onboarding someone, highly recommend. The other two custom GPTs that we worked on, we created a market tracker for each of our brands. So we input all of their competitors into this. And essentially we could go in there and be like, hey, give us a weekly update on like our position versus our competitor's position. Are they releasing any new features? Are they doing XYZ? And it'll give us a full report with links to the sources that it pulls from. So that's been pretty cool to experiment with. And the one that I use the most is our Copy Studio GPTs, which we've taught all of the brand guidelines for each individual brand that we have. And it helps us develop social media captions. It helps us develop like rough drafts of blogs or emails. It also helps us develop ways that we can help our interns with responding to comments whenever we have people comment on our content, or it helps empower them to go out and do the community engagement part. The other, like, aside from interns, again, I know that there are a lot of you with one-person teams. These GPTs would be so helpful to you, and they will save you so much time if you develop them for your brand. And so this is kind of like a linear process, but also I don't think you need to, I kind of sound like I'm contradicting myself. I would just start somewhere. And then once you have all of these different guidelines and briefs in place, then you can take them all. And that's how you can train your GPTs. And that's what I would recommend you do. I really enjoy working with AI and having it support our team this way. Like I said, there's no way that we could get out 450 pieces of content a month if it was just a handful of us without using these kinds of systems. So take a look at it. It's definitely worth the time. I would also say for the one-person team, just pick a content format that you really, that works, And so every brand is going to be different. I know that video and carousels are winning kind of across the board. And so I would say pick one of those and then just like go all in with that. And then pick one or two social platforms where your brand really shows up or where your audience really shows up and your brand can interact with them. That's where I'd start if you're a one-person team. Don't try to do it all. That will end up in burnout. But yeah, so building and scaling lean teams. Do you guys have any questions about that?
Okay, so everyone is amazed by the custom GPT, and I'm also amazed because like having these set up is probably so helpful for people like asking questions about your brand or running captions by it and the competitor stuff. So we do have a question here. What tools are you using to build that custom GPT?
Yeah, so we use ChatGPT. I've experimented a little bit with Gemini and stuff like that. And I really just felt like ChatGPT is kind of where it's at right now. And so you do need a pro account in order for you to be able to make a custom GPT, but it is the easiest thing ever. And so if you have a pro account, you can go in there and at the top right corner, there's a section, or maybe it's in the left pane. Somewhere on the screen, it says My GPTs, and you go there and it'll give you an option to build a custom one. And then you're just feeding it all the information that you want it to know and all the stuff that you want it to pull from. And so you can upload documents. And that's kind of why I'm pushing some of these templates and briefs here. Because like once you make those, you can add them as attachments. I'm a professional in whatever topic you want it to be. And I make custom GPTs for like so many things. I have a personal assistant one. I have a nutrition one. I have one for a Disney trip that I'm planning. And so there's just a lot of opportunities to like create like a personal assistant essentially.
That is so cool. Yes, I'm mind blown and now want to like create a bunch of my own because it sounds so cool. We do have another question here. Macy says, my company is in the process of building out all our sub brands. My CEO wants us on all platforms for each sub brand. How would you recommend going about that with a one-person team without getting burnt out?
Macy, I'm so glad you're here today. I will share all my knowledge with you. Add me on LinkedIn. Let's connect because I would love to also continue having that conversation. Here, I feel very blessed because we have, our scheduling platforms. We have a lot of tools that we're able to use at our fingertips so that we aren't burnout. But I would say again, like if your CEO wants you to be on every platform, um, pick pick one content format that you love. And then in addition to that, pick like one long form content format that you love, whether that's blogging, videos, long form videos, or podcasts. And then lean into that. So if you're making a podcast, it might as well be a video podcast because you're not really adding a lot of extra work that way. But then you have all this video content that you can cut up from that one piece of content. And so you can post that everywhere, especially video content. I think a majority of social media platforms prioritize video content right now. So I don't think you can go wrong with that. Video content is time consuming in a whole different way than copywriting and things like that. But I think you'll have a great return if that's what you're going to choose to do.
Awesome. Thank you. I see we have a few more questions, but I'm going to save some of them until maybe like the next section or the end. But thank you everyone for all of your comments in the chat.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying this. So I'm going to go to my next section. This is about flexible content workflows. I think this is also really essential because sometimes we get so sucked into like some of these templates or guides or things that we just create like this rigid mindset of like, this is how it has to be done. Oh, I have to hit all of these checkpoints that I set out before me. You don't have to. So I'm going to make a motion that we ditch rigid content calendars and just go back to simple spreadsheets that help you to lay out like the bones of your month. And so, or your week, I don't know where everybody's brand is. So like, there isn't like a tried and true formula that I would, recommend other than you just have a simple spreadsheet and you decide I'm going to put out 2 to 3 posts per week on the days with the best engagement for this brand. And then you can spend an hour mapping all that out. Now that you have your copy studio, you can have it crawl your web page and then say, hey, this is the same tone and voice that I want. Take all of the topics and all the content that we mentioned on our website and help me to create, 3 posts per week for a whole month for my website based on what you see from blah, blah, blah.com. And then once that's done, honestly, that used to take me about 3 hours before I had systems in place. And once I finally got systems in place, I'm down to like an hour, like 45 minutes or an hour developing monthly content calendars. And all of our brands are also very different. So we have one brand that still really loves the monthly content calendar. And I try to get that out to them, as early as possible. And they schedule that. And we have a great system in place for that. But most of our brands, we schedule content week to week. And every day of the week has a different theme that we talk about. And so that's really what I would recommend doing is like set up daily pieces of content that you're going to talk about. So for example, we have a lot of education-based brands. And so our audience is often looking for grant resources. Every Monday for one of our brands, we're posting about grant resources that are available on our website. So that might be a repurposed blog. That might be our actual grant funding page. That might be upcoming grants that the deadlines are approaching and you should totally apply for this. So those kind of, I keep calling them bones, but that's what they are. The bones are in place and you're developing these bits of pieces of content ahead of time so that when the week approaches, you're freed up to do anything that might like just suddenly come up. Because there's a lot of stuff that happens at the last minute. There are inevitable shifts in schedules. And I know for our brands, they go to several trade shows throughout the year. And so I need margin in my schedule to be able to, pause on whatever, continuous rhythmic work I'm doing to be able to complete those one-off things. So like I said, I think you should ditch the rigid content calendar. I have a very basic spreadsheet that you guys can use. But this will also really help you to be able to just kind of roll with it and flow for your brand and also stay relevant. I'd also say that like my flexible content systems include like blog templates and email templates. And so I mentioned structuring your week by topics or themed buckets or whatever. Like Tuesday might be behind the scenes, Wednesday might be tips, Thursday might be your trends or whatever. You have all these things, and then you can pull from your other places with your long form content and plug them into those spots. I mentioned this earlier, but your template library is going to be key to making this happen. And then if something does come up at the last minute, or maybe your team wants to talk about wants the brand to be an authority on a certain subject, then you can pull from this template library. Oh, here's my blog template. I just need to copy and paste it and then fill in the blank for, National Moon Day or whatever we want to talk about, whatever we want to be an authority on. And then again, your blog writing goes down from 3 hours to 45 minutes. So I have all these templates here. I hope that's helpful. Feel free to explore them. They are structured in a way that also it should be helpful throughout your team. So like our blog templates that we use here are formatted with like H1s, subheaders. We know where the images go. And it also has like all of the SEO information, all of the alt text information, links to the images that we're using, so that when it's handed off to our web person, he knows exactly where to find all the things to put into the blog. So that's what I would recommend. Again, a lot of this for me started when I was kind of a one-person team. We were a 1.5 people team, sort of, because I had someone above me. But all of this stuff really did help me figure out how to manage my time better. So do you guys have questions about flexible content workflows?
There's just a lot of comments, loving everything you're going over, which is amazing. And then I do see a question about, yes, there will be a recording of this going out. So don't worry if you have to hop off or you want to re-watch parts of it, you can definitely do that. That will probably go out either tomorrow or Monday. And then so there is a question that was from before. So maybe I'll actually wait till you're done and then we can revisit it. But yeah.
Perfect. I have only one more section left, and these last 2 sections are pretty short. So I think we'll fly through them here. I want to talk a lot about community first engagement. This was something that was really important to me that our team start doing more of this year. And I'll be fully honest with you guys. It's intimidating to act on behalf of a brand so publicly and respond and reply. And also there's this pressure, whether anyone tells you or not, you want your brand to have personality, but you also have guidelines that you have to stay within, and nobody wants to make anybody look bad. So I would sort of get a little paralyzed by all of that pressure, and I just wouldn't even know what to do. And so, understanding that now social platforms are no longer broadcast channels, they're two-way streets. The importance of having a community first mindset as a part of your content strategy is so important. So our copy studios come in clutch for this kind of thing. And we've also identified 3 channels that have been the most beneficial channels for us to engage with because they have the most active conversations on there. That's how I would suggest approaching this. Develop your social, your copy studio, and then just pick a handful of places where you really feel like you can dig in and actually get started on this. We use TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, and I've really actually also empowered our interns to start doing this too. Because I think when you do hard things, you grow more. So I'm also participating in this. I didn't just put it off on their plate, but it's been really fun. And actually I found that once those external pressures are removed, or I have the systems in place to support me to actually do a good job with this, then it makes it a whole lot more exciting to go out and talk to people. We recently, so I don't know about a majority of people here, but one of our brands is a planner brand, and we've been kind of leaning into nostalgia stuff, and that has been so much fun. And the comments on some of the videos that we've been putting out on TikTok have been hilarious, and it's been a really fun way for me to kind of stretch my wings on using that brand's voice, because that wasn't really something that we had done last year or the year before. And so it's just been it's given us a huge payoff, honestly, having this community first mindset. And it's also helped us to prioritize outreach, not just waiting for people to come talk to us on our content, but also reaching out. We, like I said, serve a lot of education spaces. So we're constantly commenting on like teacher content, and that's been rewarding too, because a lot of it is like, oh, we're just like trying to amp up our teachers. Like, you guys are doing a great job. This is one of the hardest, if not the hardest fields to work in, and you guys are rocking it. So like, keep it going. Like, that's fun. It's fun to encourage people. And I think that's like a bright side of social media. So do not forsake community first engagement. Like I mentioned, I would concentrate your efforts on like 1 or 2 platforms at most, and then create ready to use prompts inside of your social media guide and ready to use conversation starters, so that your team kind of gets a feel for what they're supposed to be doing, or even for you to refer back on, because you're probably not going to be constantly doing, interactions online for your brand. You have other things as a social media manager that you have to take care of. So having like a place that will anchor you to create, to have content that's already kind of pre-made, it'll kind of bring you back to that place and that mindset of like, oh yeah, that's what I'm doing here. Write it down, put it somewhere where you'll remember it. And then also establish clear do's and don'ts for yourself and your team. Like, we're not going to respond to negative comments, or if there are negative comments, we're going to invite them to send us a DM and incentivize conversations, things like that. And then at the end of it all, you just really have to see what's working and what's not working. I really like this creator. Her name's Erin McGough. And one of the things that she says all the time is like, nobody knows what they're doing. And so if you feel like you don't know what you're doing, that's fine. Just try something and see what works. And then when you finally do find something that works, run with it. Like, but don't be afraid to like pivot and try something new. If you find that stuff's not being, if your efforts aren't very successful at first. So that's how I would execute that. Do you guys have any questions about community engagement?
I don't actually. There is one here. Savannah says, "How do you balance flexibility and fun, Gen
I
Z
know.
trends with more corporate business content, or staying within your brand's tone?"
Oh man. So I would say that like my personal take on this is nobody goes on social media to be sold to, and nobody's going to social media to watch any kind of corporate content, like traditional corporate content. I think that we're moving into a time on social media where people love bingeable content. So creating things that like episodic video content. One of the things that we did, and we've kind of been doing loosely, we like once a month, we have this series where we do like a spoof of The Office, where there's like this mockumentary style of video that we've put out. And it's usually centered around real things that happen in our office. And they're a little dramatized, but I think everything we've made has actually happened in our office. And so I would say like, just show people what's actually happening. Don't be afraid to show people the personality behind your corporate brand or your business or whatever. I don't think we really need to be that serious. Like, I think some people want to be serious, but that's not social media. Like, that's not fun. And that's not content people want to consume. So if you have anyone higher up pushing for a more like serious and businessy tone, keep fighting, man. Like, just try to keep it fun.
Yes, for sure. And sometimes it's even good, like, to show them if they really are like, no, I don't think that's going to work for us. Show them another brand that's maybe equally as maybe corporate as yours, that's doing a great job of it, and be like, look, they're doing it and it's working great. But yeah, it can be hard to get people to understand that it's a good thing.
Right.
Okay, I think we have another question here. Do you have any ideas for community engagement when it's a sensitive industry with a long approval process? So it can be hard to be nimble and reactive to community conversation. So how would you approach community management in that way?
Yeah. So I would say maybe don't focus on like I hope I understood the question correctly. But maybe instead of focusing on like what's happening currently, like go out and make a conversation. And I I think I'm going to struggle answering this because I'm not sure what kind of industry you mean by sensitive. Um, like I, uh, yeah, I don't know what that means. So
Yeah.
if there's a space for you to be able to go out and start lighthearted conversations with if you're like, say you work for a nonprofit. I know that we used to do content when I worked for an agency. We worked for a nonprofit that builds schools in different places around the world that are like low income. And so if there are other community spaces similar to that like you're not competing with, I would say go and try to be their social friend, like have your company be their company's best friend or whatever, and hype them up, um, yeah, I don't know how to answer that though without knowing a little more information. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'd love to talk about it there.
Amazing. And we have another really good question. I think this is something a lot of people struggle with is how would you overcome teams that aren't willing to be featured in social media content, or maybe they don't want to be in that video content? How could you approach that?
Yeah, absolutely. We have several people in our company that really don't want to be on video. And at first, I think it was very natural for me to feel discouraged by that. Um, but like the longer I've been here, the more I recognize like it's really okay. Like I respect their decision and maybe they just don't care about social media, and that's absolutely fine. Find the two or three people that are willing to be like your people, that want to be part of your video project. And if that's nobody, then be the first person to like step up and show what that looks like. It can be really hard. I know that. When I worked at an agency, we didn't produce like hardly any video content. And I could have imagined that it would have been very difficult there because I don't think any of our team really wanted to be on camera. But if you're the leader, then I think other people will see how fun it can be, and then they'll want to be part of it. But don't get discouraged because I think everybody on every team has dealt with that at some point.
Yeah, totally. And like our team is fully remote. So it can be a little hard to do videos. And whenever it's like a rare chance we're all together. And when we do, we just film like as many things as we possibly can. But yeah, Jessica and
Yeah.
Natalie do such a good job at getting people to want to be on our socials. Like we've had like web developers want to make videos for social, which like was never happening. And I think it's
Right.
because Jessica and Natalie make it look so fun and give them all the script and everything, and they just have to film. But it can take time to get people to
Yeah.
want to do it. Yeah, but I think if they see that it is fun and they can have fun doing it,
Yeah.
more people might want to.
Well, and I like what you said, Alyssa, like they have the script for them. So
Yeah.
it kind of goes back into everything that we've already talked about. Like if you have something already laid out for people, that just makes it so much easier for them to say, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm in." The less that they have to do or the less that they have like heavy lifting that they need to be a part of, the easier it's going to be to get them on board.
For sure, totally. And I think I have a question here from earlier. Let me get it here. What are your top suggestions for rolling out new processes / where to start with process implementation as a small burnt out team?
Oh,
No more moving the target. How can we structure this for success?
yes. Okay, so where I would start is I would just pick like, there are a lot of ways you can do this. Honestly, I would say get my project template download, start there, and whatever your big repeatable projects are, start putting those into your project workflows, and then get a guide that gets everybody on the same page. And this guide is something that you can kind of start with, like the social media guide. It could be for anything for your whole team, but like you can create the outline. And again, Chat GPT is really helpful for stuff like this. And then your team can contribute their role as well so that everybody knows what's going on. And then I would kind of cut everything else out, like whatever your plans and whatever your strategies are right now, I would just kind of get rid of those. I'd pick 3 topics that your brand that are really important to your brand. And then I would develop my strategy around those 3 topics. So maybe you're releasing one long form piece of content that's a video in January. And then that January, that's the only thing that you're talking about on social media is that topic, that one topic. And then February, there's topic number 2, and you want to make a blog about that. And then February, that's all you're talking about is topic number 2. I think maybe cutting things down might help your team feel less burnout. And it would also kind of get you guys on the same page. I think burnout sometimes also happens when people are not really communicating or connecting. And so if you guys kind of just get rid of all the fluff and refocus your efforts like to be on the same page, then it might also help. But that's like my vague response for not really knowing your situation.
No, that's awesome. And another question that I saw that I also am wondering myself, how long has it taken you to create that custom GPT when you're doing it?
Oh, no, it takes like no time, like maybe 10 minutes. Yeah. So if you have all of this stuff already, which I think most brands probably have brand guides and style guides, you're literally just like uploading it into this. And the way you train it is the same way that you would just like use a normal GPT. So like you're like typing in all the information and you're just talking to it. So it's so easy. Everybody should be doing this. Like go run with it. I hope that it blesses you guys. It's been a huge gift to us. And yeah, I think everybody should be doing this.
I love that. No, yes, I think everyone's very inspired to do that. And then another thing that you mentioned near the end of your presentation that I really liked was how, if you're on a small team, just focus on like 1 or 2 platforms that work best for you, which I think is so important because like even like at HeyOrca, we are on all social platforms, but our main focuses are LinkedIn and Instagram, and we put a lot of our energy there. But yeah, it's so important to know that you don't need to be like crazy active on every social platform. Like just pick a few and just do it that way. Cause yeah, I think sometimes, if like a higher up says like, oh, we need to be on everything, they may just not understand that it's like, you don't have to be on everything.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I do like that. Awesome. Well, I know we are running close to the end, and I want to say thank you to everyone in the chat. You were all asking so many amazing questions and sharing so many awesome comments and your own tips and everything like that. So thank you so much, everyone. And I want to say thank you to Rachel because she was amazing, and I believe this was her first webinar.
Ever. I've never done a webinar before. I was so nervous. So thank you for having me. This has been really fun.
Yeah. So I would never have known it was your first one. You were so good at presenting. So yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Natalie just put Rachel's website in the chat again, just in case you missed it. I'll also link it out in the recording email as well, so you can find it there, and I'll put her LinkedIn there as well. But yes, thank you, Rachel, so much. This was so great. We learned so much. So thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.